Chapter 7: Silencing the Grammar Police in Your Head. Welcome back to MindShift, where we rewire your brain to think in English. Today's topic is one that nearly every learner struggles with: the inner critic.
You know the one. That little voice that interrupts your thoughts with, "Wait, is that the right tense?" Or "Oops, wrong preposition," or "That sounded stupid."
We call it the grammar police. And while it means well, it's doing you more harm than good, especially when it stops you from thinking or speaking freely.
So today, we're showing you how to quiet that voice, stop chasing perfection, and start building confidence-based fluency, not grammar-based anxiety.
1. Where the grammar police comes from.
Let's be real, most of us were trained to fear mistakes. In school, grammar errors meant red marks. Wrong answers meant embarrassment. And that fear doesn't just disappear.
Exactly. And if you've been rewarded for correctness but never trained in spontaneity, your brain naturally freezes when you're unsure.
But here's the thing, native speakers make grammar mistakes too. All the time. What matters is clarity, not perfection.
So let's reframe. You're not aiming to be a perfect machine, you're aiming to be a functioning, fluent human in English.
2. Stop interrupting yourself.
The grammar police love to interrupt. You're halfway through a sentence, and your brain shouts, "Was that have been or had been?"
And boom, you pause. You hesitate. You lose the flow.
Our advice? Let the sentence finish. Even if you're not sure it's perfect. Get the thought out.
Then, later, reflect on what felt off. But don't let perfection hijack your communication in real time.
The mindset shift is this: fluency isn't paused by mistakes, it's built through movement. Keep the momentum.
3. Build confidence through controlled chaos. One trick is to do fast, messy English speaking drills. Set a timer for 1 minute and talk non-stop about anything: your day, your plans, your dreams.
No stopping. No correcting. Just flowing. Even if your grammar is a mess, your fluency muscle is being trained.
This forces your brain to focus on ideas, not structure. And guess what? Structure improves over time, but confidence only grows if you let go of fear.
Think of it as controlled chaos. The more you allow yourself to be imperfect, the faster you improve.
4. Speak first, fix later.
Another strategy: separate the speaking from the correction. For example, record yourself talking about a topic in English for 2 minutes.
Then go back, listen, and note a couple of things you want to improve. Not everything, just 1 or 2 patterns.
This trains your brain to prioritize fluency in the moment and reflection afterward. Just like athletes review their performance after the game, not during.
Think of this as your post-game analysis. But when you're live, in the moment, just play.
5. Real conversations aren't grammar tests.
Here's the truth: most conversations are imperfect. Even among native speakers.
We use fillers. We break sentences. We say, "I was, like, kind of thinking maybe," and nobody flinches.
If you think conversations are oral exams, you'll freeze up. But if you see them as connection, you'll relax.
And that's when your best English comes out, not when you're trying to impress, but when you're just trying to be understood.
6. Know when grammar does matter.
Now, we're not saying grammar never matters. Of course it does. But it's about timing.
Think of it like editing. You don't edit while you're drafting. You draft first, get it all out, then polish later.
In speaking, that means fluency first, then correction and review. And in writing, it might mean free writing in English, then checking grammar with a tool like Grammarly or a teacher afterward.
You're not ignoring grammar. You're just not letting it control the wheel.
7. Train a new inner voice.
So how do you actually quiet the grammar police?
You replace it with a new voice. One that says, "Nice try." Or, "Okay, that wasn't perfect, but I got my point across." Or, "Keep going."
You train your mind to give feedback, not criticism. Instead of wrong, try next time, let's use the past perfect.
Make your inner voice a coach, not a judge. Someone who helps you grow, not someone who shuts you down.
The grammar police might never fully disappear. But you can turn down their volume and turn up your confidence.
Remember, you didn't learn your first language by correcting every sentence, you learned it by using it.
So speak. Think. Mess up. And keep going. Your fluency isn't found in perfect grammar, it's found in freedom.
Next week, we're tackling a big question: should you focus on speed or accuracy when training your English brain?
That's right, Chapter 8 is all about striking the balance between being fast and being right. You don't want to miss it. Chapter 8, Speed versus Accuracy. Which one matters for thinking in English?
Welcome back to MindShift, the podcast where we rewire your brain to think in English, not just about English. Today we're digging into a classic debate.
Speed versus accuracy. Should you focus on speaking quickly and fluently, even if you make mistakes? Or slow down and make sure everything you say is perfect?
Great question. And one that trips up a lot of learners. But the answer isn't one size fits all. It depends on your goals, your context, and your mindset.
By the end of this episode, you'll know when to prioritize speed, when to dial in accuracy, and how to train both without getting stuck.
1. Why speed matters.
Let's start with speed. When we say speed, we don't just mean talking fast like an auctioneer, we're talking about mental speed. The ability to pull up words quickly, respond in real time, keep the conversation flowing.
Exactly. Speed is critical for building fluency. It's what helps you think in English rather than translating in your head.
And the truth is, if you're constantly stopping to check your grammar, you'll struggle to develop this flow.
That's why early in your training, we recommend pushing yourself to keep going, even if the grammar isn't perfect. Think momentum over mechanics.
2. When accuracy becomes essential.
Now let's talk about accuracy. There are definitely times when accuracy is more important. For example, writing a formal email, doing a job interview, or giving a presentation.
Or explaining something technical, like medical terms, legal details, or step-by-step instructions. In these moments, precision matters.
But here's the secret: even accuracy starts with speed. You can't be accurate until you know what you want to say. Speed gets the idea out. Accuracy cleans it up.
So accuracy is the refinement layer, not the foundation. If you try to be perfect from the start, you'll paralyze your progress.
3. Think like a two-mode machine. Imagine your brain has two modes. Mode 1, fluency mode. You speak, you flow, you don't stop for every mistake. You keep the conversation alive.
Mode 2, precision mode. You slow down, edit, and refine. This is where you catch those verb tenses or pronunciation issues.
The trick is knowing which mode to use, and when.
If you're at a party, networking event, or talking to a friend, fluency mode. If you're writing your resume, preparing a public speech, precision mode.
Don't mix the two at the same time. Speak in fluency mode first. Then review and fix in precision mode.
4. Speed trains thinking. Here's something that might surprise you. Speed doesn't just make you faster, it actually helps you think better in English.
Why? Because when you speak fast, your brain is forced to retrieve words without translating. It pushes your internal English engine to take over.
It's the same reason athletes practice under pressure. To make their reactions automatic.
So give yourself permission to be fast and messy during training. That's not laziness, that's neural training. 5. How to train for speed. Let's get practical. Want to build speed? Try these. Shadowing, listen to a native speaker and mimic them instantly. Match their pace and rhythm. 1-minute rants, set a timer and speak non-stop on any topic. No corrections. Just flow. Flash prompts, use random words or images, and try to describe them immediately in English. No thinking. Just reacting.
These exercises force your brain to speed up retrieval. At first, it'll be rough. But over time, you'll notice smoother transitions and faster word access.
6. How to train for accuracy.
Now for accuracy training. This is where you zoom in and refine. Self-recording, talk for 2 minutes, then listen. Spot and fix common grammar or pronunciation issues. Mini corrections, choose one focus at a time, like prepositions or past tense, and monitor that in everything you say. Writing drills, write short daily reflections in English and get feedback. Focus on structure, spelling, and clarity.
The key here is depth. Don't try to fix everything at once. You'll get overwhelmed. Just choose 1 or 2 weak spots and chip away at them.
7. The 80-20 rule of progress.
Here's our favorite mindset for balancing speed and accuracy, the 80-20 rule.
Spend 80% of your time on fluency, just speaking, thinking, reacting in English. Then spend 20% analyzing and correcting.
This builds confidence, creativity, and spontaneity without losing sight of structure.
It also keeps your brain in learning mode instead of panic mode. You feel your progress, even when your grammar isn't perfect yet.
So, speed or accuracy? The answer is both. But not at the same time.
Train like a musician. Jam freely to build creativity. Then rehearse the hard parts slowly to get them right.
Let speed build your thinking brain. Let accuracy sharpen your tools. But never let either one stop you from using the language.
Next chapter, we're diving into a powerful mindset shift: how to stop translating in your head and finally feel your English thoughts naturally.
That's right, Chapter 9 is all about breaking free from translation. Trust us, you don't want to miss it.